Titleist have launched their T-Series range for this year, and I'm going to go and put to the test the T150 and give you my feedback on what I think this iron's going to do for you. Remember, if you like our videos, please hit subscribe and tell all your friends. It's good, it's long. T150 is going to be a long performance iron. So what did Titleist say about this iron? They have named it the fastest tour iron. I don't know, I haven't hit it yet, but from looks, it definitely looks like a tour iron. It looks fantastic. One of the things that they have done is they've made the loft stronger than the T100, which is a really important thing. And I think one thing that Titleist have done very, very well this year, and it's interesting that they've brought this technology and this kind of approach to this set of irons, is they've worked with the guys at Vokey on the sole. So they've made sure that they've gone really and kind of, they've worked with those guys who talk a lot about their bounce and how the sole interacts with the turf, and they've used that technology and that information to really design something that's going to interact with the turf much, much better. Now, overall, it's a forged head. Like I say, it looks great. I think top down, I think it's going to suit an awful lot of golfers. I think there's not many golfers that are going to look at this iron and think, I can't hit that, regardless of handicap. You know, we talk about this a lot. Handicap isn't going to tell you what the top edge and what you like the look of. So it's really important that you like the look of it. I think it's designed to pop. It's designed to go a long way, but also give that tour proven feel. So, you know, hey, look, this is what they've said. It'll be interesting to go and hit it. We're going to go and test it on TrackMan. Let's see what the numbers say. So we're in the studio. We're going to have a smash with this T150. I think on first impressions, it's always interesting when you come into a studio because you're going to put that golf club down behind the golf ball, and how it sits and how it frames is obviously quite critical. T150 straight away, it looks really, really sharp. I play T100S at the minute, so this would be a good comparison for me. I'm getting older. I like the idea that this is going to be a little bit hotter off the face, which is what Titleist talk about, rather than the T100. It definitely looks good. I think it looks sharp from the back. So let's hit some balls. I'm going to see what the numbers come out like. So instant reaction straight away is that the feeling off the face is really, really soft. So that forged element to the golf club is really, really soft. It's a nice feel to have. The one thing to notice, and I'll hit another one here, but the one thing to notice as well is that it's got a bit of pop to it. It feels like the golf ball flies off the club face, but not in a way that, a bit toey there, not in a way that's uncontrollable, in a way that feels like you're just getting a little bit more bang for your buck, if you like. Let's have another little hit. So it's a better strike, that one. So in terms of my, yeah, nice flight. So in terms of my numbers, if I have a little look at the TrackMan data up here, speed for me 90 miles an hour, which is kind of standard now. Good carry distance. The only thing that would concern me there is 185 carry is probably about 5 to 10 yards longer than my T100 in a 7-iron. So I'm getting more ball speed, I'm getting more carry distance, but maybe that might be a little bit too far, as daft as that sounds. What is great with this iron, and what was great just straight away on the TrackMan, even of those two shots, is that the land angle is at 50 degrees. So the one thing I struggle with T100S is I struggle with this idea that it comes in a little bit lower and a little bit shootier. So it's okay in 7-iron and 6-iron, but I've got the 4-iron here. It hasn't got the exact shaft that I'd use, but it's close enough to test. And I need that 4-iron to come in a little bit hotter. I typically will always play a 3-iron. I'm not a huge fan of hybrids. Never have been. I think the first one I ever had was a Ping G5, and all I ended up doing was hooking it. So I've always kept with a long iron or a driving iron. So what's great with Titleist this year, they've stuck a load of long irons in the bag. So I think that's going to encourage a lot of guys to at least try it, whether that's T200, T150 or T100. They're going to get to try that 4 and 5 iron, which you might see guys move away from fairway woods, move away from hybrids and back into the long iron range, especially if it produces the ball fly they want. So for me, this is quite an important iron because I'm going to use this quite a lot into par 5s. I'm going to use it quite a lot into off the tee for positional play. So let's have a little couple of swings with the 4 iron. Not the best start there, a little clanky, a little bit off the toe. Can all have a little comment on the bad ball striking, a little duck hook as well. So let's try and get one that goes forward rather than left. That was a better strike. There we go, got it down the line. So in terms of yardage there, clubhead speed's obviously popped because it's a longer iron. Carry distance 222 with a 4 iron. It's good, it's long. T150 is going to be a long performance iron. That's what it's going to do this year. But land angle is really important. You know, I said about it with the 7 iron here at 50 degrees. Now with the 4 iron at 43. So this thing is going to come in and stop from an awful long distance and stop fairly quickly into a decent receptive green. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, as I said, this is my first kind of play in the studio on TrackMan with it. So for me, testing it, hitting it, feels fantastic, feels poppy. Whether I could handle the increase in distance, I think is going to be a difficult one for me to get my head around. For the last 10 years, I've always hit 7 iron around 175, 178, that kind of number. So to jump as far as it did and feel as good as it did is brilliant. Whether I can get my head around that as a golfer, I'm not so sure. So overall, a really, really tidy iron. So I think the best thing for us to do now is give it some rankings. So it's time to give it the AF Golf score. So remember, we give it out of 5 different points. Number 1 being look. Certainly looks fantastic. I said this in the testing, it looks brilliant behind the golf ball. It's a forged iron, it's a classic Titleist look. So for me, it's an 8 out of 10. Feel. Again, I said it in the studio, Titleist have said it's tour proven feel. I certainly would agree with them. It is unbelievably soft off the face. Again, 8 out of 10 for me. Affordability, tough one with Titleist, the price has gone up. We're looking at about £180 an iron in steel, so it's not cheap. All the irons in the T-Series are the same, it's not cheap. So it's a good quality iron for that money, but it's not cheap. So I'm gonna go 7 out of 10. Custom options. As always, Titleist offer an awful big custom range. So if you're going through Titleist, they offer huge. Now, we also have that added benefit, that sneaky added benefit that we can build for Titleist. So we've got that component account, so we've got a few other options. But if we were just looking at Titleist overall, I would say they have a great selection of shafts and grips for any player. 8 out of 10 again. And last but not least, performance. You saw it in the studio, 4 iron and the 7 iron, they went miles. They went through the air. Smash factor was unbelievable, good for my speed. Whether I could want to play it is a different matter, but for a performance iron, the performance of this golf club is definitely going to be very, very difficult to beat. So therefore, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So overall, for the T150 iron, this year released by Titleist, it is 40 out of 50 for us. So there we go, guys. That concludes the review of the T150. We've tested it, we've hit it. If you enjoyed that video, please hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends to follow us as well. If you do want to try the Titleist iron, the T150 specifically, then please head into an AF Golf store. The guys have got the fitting kit, they've got the technology, and they're always happy to help.